So guys, it has been a long time since I have not uploaded another video, and yeah, it has been 3 months. So well, yeah, there were a lot of reasons due to which I could not upload, but now let's leave the reasons aside and let's start with the video. So in this video I will be showing you the 5 ways to make money for beginners, and by beginners I am talking about the early and mid game players. Beginners are not only early game players, but they are also mid game players, because when you become a mid game player, when you just do all the basic things that are there in the Industrialist, you find that there are a lot of ways to make money, and you cannot decide that what way you should use in order to make money. So that is why in this video I will be showing you 5 ways to make money. So yeah, I have said money 3 times. Okay, so yeah, so the 5th way to make money is iron plate square method. So let's go here first in the recipes tab. As you can see, one iron plate makes 0.25 x press x iron plate square. So by press, you might say that why is it at the bottom of the list? It's just that it is much harder to make, and it also is a bigger and requires much more work. Although it sells for a lot, 300 for one, it requires 4 iron plates, so you need a fairly big factory for it, and that is why it is at the bottom of the list. But I recommend you to make it if you have a if you want to put a lot of work in your factory. So it's really good. And also iron plate square sells for like $300. $300 is a lot of money for early to mid game players, and this method is for those who are in the early to mid game transition period, because they have just sold coal and other stuff, and now they are transitioning from early to mid game. So that is what this is all about. So yeah, so let's move on to the 4th method, which is the iron coils. Iron coil, yeah, this thing, where it is, yeah, it is right here. So you might say that why do you recommend it as at the 4th place? It's just that because this is of $43 for 1 unit, but 2 iron plates make 4 of these through a normal roller. As you can see, 2 iron plates makes half a iron plate square, but it makes 4 iron coils. So if you do the math and all, you can just calculate that one plate is made into 2 iron coils, and you get approximately $14 extra. As if you add a lot of factories, then it makes it easier to make more of these iron coils. And it is just made by getting the iron plate first into the press, and then we just put it into a roller, and then we make the iron coils. So it is fairly easy to make, and it's for those who don't want to put much work, or this is a very easier method. This is a much easier method than the iron plate square method, and that is why I am recommending it at the 4th place. And it is also a basic thing, so that is why I am recommending it. So yeah, now let's move on to the 3rd place. So now this is the crankshaft method. Crankshafts. So what are crankshafts? It's just right here. It is made from steel gears. This is the gear which is made from steel plates, and also made from steel rods. As you can see, you might say that what is steel ingot? It's basically just coal and ironing it into a blast furnace, and then you can just make the steel ingot. I have all these tutorials on my channel. Make sure to watch them. I am also going to put the links of those tutorials in the description, and that is why you should watch them in order to make these stuff. So crankshaft, it sells for about $750 per unit, which is a really good price, and it's like really good. And you might say that the gearbox is much better than this, which is on the 2nd list, and yes, you are right. But selling crankshafts alone is also really good, because if you do not have enough money in order to make the plastic factory, then crankshaft is your buddy, because it is really good, and it also requires much less work in order to make, because steel is easier to make, but it also requires a lot of steel, because mostly the crankshaft factories do not work because due to the lack of steel, and that is the thing here. So steel ingots, I have made this in my gearbox farm factory in my channel. You can just watch that tutorial, so the link is in the description. So that's the crankshaft here, and it's the third best way to make money for beginners. It is also for those who are in mid-game players, so yeah, let's move on to the second place, which is the gearbox. So yeah, the gearbox. So let's just move on to the gearbox first. As you can see, it is now the most expensive thing that you can make as a mid-game player, because this is the thing that you need to sell in order to get to the gold part. You know, that's for the transition from mid to late game players. So this is the gearbox. It is made from plastic casing, which is made from plastic, and crankshafts. So crankshaft was $754, but it was much easier to make. But plastic is a little much more complex than those things, because you need the plastic pellets, and plastic pellets requires a lot of stuff to do. Like you need these chemicals, these are made from other chemicals and stuff like that. I also have the tutorial how to make plastic on my channel, so you can also watch that in order to make it. So gearbox is really good because it is the most expensive thing that you can buy or sell. You cannot buy it, but you can sell it as a mid-game player. So basically you need 2 steel rods and 4 gears in order to make one crankshaft, as you can see right here. And for plastic casing you need 20 plastic pellets, and then you get 1 plastic casing. So it is a really good way to make method, as it sells for a lot for 1 unit. And mostly this farm does not work due to the lack of steel, due to the lack of crankshafts. So that is why you need to make a lot of crankshafts in order to make this gearbox farm efficient. And also the plastic that is required in order to make this is enough for like 2 to 3 craft assemblers, and that is why you should just make 1 plastic farm, and it's just a one thing that you need to do. And that's how you can make the gearboxes. It is very effective, and also it is really good. Well, I don't have much words to say about this because it does not have much function, but it is really good. And it can be made very easier, because plastic can be made very easily, and that is the whole thing. So thanks guys, this is the second way to make method, and let's move on to the first way, which is the chair farm. So the chairs, and well, both early game players and mid game players can make the chair. And now you might say that why did you place the chair at the first place and the gearbox at the second? So basically gearboxes for the mid game players, and gearboxes is also a lot tough in order to make it, and also it is much less efficient, as it is produced very slowly. Whereas the chairs are much easier to make, because you just need a tree farm. Tree farm is like trees, and you can just watch the video. I have 2 videos on this, links are in the description. So planks and nails. Planks are made from wood, which we get from the trees, and then the nails you get from the iron ingots. So when you put it through a craft assembler, you get one chair. And you can just expand this farm by adding a lot of sawmills, because sawmills work very slowly actually. As you can see, this is a sawmill right here. So you have to place a lot of these sawmills in order to make a lot of planks. As you can see, you need 3 sawmills. Like I'm just showing you how to make it in a simple way, and you just need to add a lot of these sawmills in such a way that it produces a lot of output. As you can see, oops, I placed it wrong. So that's the whole thing actually. And yeah, so this is the chair farm. One chair sells for about $1,030, and it is heavily recommended. And for the early game players, it is a really good way to make money. And also you can increase the size of the farm. well, just increasing the size of the sawmill works, because there is enough wood, but you need a big tree farm also, because if you have a lot of sawmills then you need a big tree farm. And that is why this farm is much recommended than gearboxes, because this is much easier and feasible for the mid-game players. As you can see, if you go to the research tab and if we search for the tree farm, it's just right here, modular tree farm, and here's a sawmill and the craft assembly. So it does not require that much research points, and if you go to the plastics, see that it requires so much research points. That is why this chair farm is much more feasible for the beginners rather than the gearbox farm, because it requires plastic and plastic is much harder to make. But gearbox farm is the best way if you are a mid-game player and you already have a lot of research points and want to transition to the gold stage, to the end game stage. Then you just need to craft the gearboxes and expand these factories, or make a lot of the gearboxes and sell them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You might say that why is this video so short? The thing is, these factories are very easy to make mid games, and beginners are very lucky as the factories are very easier to make, and that is why I don't need to show much of the stuff. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your beginner friends if you're a late game player. Or you can also follow these steps in your world and then build these according to the tutorials that I have given in the links. I've given the links in the description, so you can just click on these links and just watch the tutorials in order to make these factories. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. Peace out.